This is Scotty Gifford with the Gifford Group. And today I wanted to show you a little bit of our net proceeds calculator that we have on the giffordgroup.net. So if you want to check it out yourself, you can and play around with it. You can go to the home resources page and go to the home sellers guide. Now, originally we just have I will show you what else we have. We have the home sellers guide that you can download, which is a pretty comprehensive resource for you if you're thinking about selling your home. So you can always download that for free. It'll email you a copy. Just put your name and email there, and you include a phone number if you want to, which allows you to get a great checklist to go through to help you, it's been scientifically proven to help you sell your home faster. Let's go back to the calculator real quick. And the reason we did this calculator is because we wanted to provide you with, a good quick summary of how much it would, you will net once you do sell your home based on the sales price and your current mortgage and the fees associated with selling. So, and we kind of has some numbers put in here, sales price, value of the home. We did some videos also about how, figuring out the value of your home. Obviously, we recommend working with a qualified realtor that's in your area to provide you a CMA and talk about the home and come walk the home. And then they can give you what they believe the market value would be and what they would want to list it for. And let's just go ahead and put, the average price in Houston is about $434. So let's go ahead and use that. And then the current mortgage you want to put there. So you can use your latest mortgage, statement you got from balance that you got from your mortgage. It's usually listed on there. So let's say we got $256,000 balance left over. Now it's automatically going to update some numbers here below, and that's based off the 7% cost of selling. So we'll talk about that in a second. But so here it tells you, here's your net proceeds from the sale of the home. You got $147,000 you'd be walking away with $30,000 in, selling cost. Now we do allow you to make this adjustment as far as, a percentage wise here. And it kind of, as you see, it's updating. If you went up to, if it say you're 8% total, it updates the net proceeds here for you automatically. Now we found that typically, and we at the Gifford Group, you charge about 6% to list the home, with 3% is that going to the buyer side agent and 3% going to the listing side agent. And that's going to the brokers. And then the realtors get paid out of that portion of it. And then usually associate about 1 to 2% in selling costs associated with, title insurance and escrow fees and other miscellaneous fees like HOAs that are going to be taken into account into play. And so usually too, taxes at some point are usually prorated through that depending on when you're selling throughout the year. Usually you're liable for the taxes up to that certain point until you do sell the home. And then, once the person has closed, they are responsible for the rest of the year's more, the tax balance at that point. So title companies usually do a pretty good job of estimating those. But this calculator also does one more thing, also calculates if you are going to be owing any capital gains on your home when you sell. And that's usually that's usually one of the largest things, the capital gains wise, that people have to deal with, other than maybe if they have some retirement, which they don't deal with until, they get to retirement age. But so let's talk about that a little bit. So if these were your numbers, you sold the home for $434,000, you had your $256,000 mortgage. And let's say, on average, probably 7.5, to 7 to 7.5% is usually where we see kind of a great guesstimate of cost of selling the home. So say you walk away with $145,000 netting to yourself from selling the home. Now the good thing is if you made any improvements to that home, say you maybe bought it for $300,000, but you put in $50,000 onto the pool. Well, that's going to reduce your capital gains, due to you. So that's $95,000 that you'd still own capital gains. And if you see if you're in the 15% tax bracket, which most people are, I think about 90% of people probably fall in that 90% tax bracket. Then you would owe $14,000 in taxes that year at the end of the year. But the good news is if you live in the home the last 2 of the 5 years, then that usually reduces your capital gains a lot, because you get a $250,000 exclusion if you're single and a $500,000 exclusion if you are married. So, and you can change your tax brackets here. I'd say most people would just be falling in there. And if you're married or not, you still get still be zero, because it's be less than this. 95,000 is less than $500,000. So the good news is you wouldn't be owning capital gains. You'd be able to roll all that $145,000 of money into your next home, or use some of that as a down payment, which we would recommend, and then maybe some for moving costs and other upgrades once you move to new home, painting, something like that. Putting the new carpet in or whatever on the new home you purchased. So hopefully this is a quick little video that shows you, our calculator that can allow you to figure out how much you're going to net from the sale of your home. And if you have any questions, we'll have a blog article too that kind of breaks down some of these costs, includes down the escrow fees, the realtor fees, the title insurance fees. Usually the biggest one is your outstanding mortgage balance that is taken away from the equity. So paying down that mortgage is usually going to be the biggest thing you're going to have to do. But we do talk about capitalization fees, and that are found in some of the communities around Houston, especially Siena, Bridgeland, Cross Creek all have capitalization fees where you're actually going to pay a portion of that money of the sales price of the home back to the developer. So something to look out for. That could, maybe it's an extra 0.5% that you actually put back in there. So something to, you need to consider. But I hope you found this informative. And if you did, like and subscribe. And until see you next time.